Hello, everyone. You're listening to the MeanGene Show, powered by Podbean. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Download it from the iHeartRadio app, podbean.com, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We're only a few weeks away from March Madness. The NCAA men's basketball regular season is winding down. Conference tournaments will begin in less than 2 weeks, and I am going to do my best to get you caught up on everything that's currently happening in NCAA men's Division I college basketball. Okay, now I know many of you do not get into college basketball until right about now. Right at the end of February, you might start paying attention to it. Now, I actually start watching college basketball when it starts. It actually starts right around Thanksgiving weekend when you have your preseason tournaments, and this is when the teams that we normally expect to be there, your Dukes, your North Carolinas, your Kansas, all those teams usually play in these preseason NIT tournaments, which gives us an introduction to college basketball. Normally, we are so tied up into the NBA, the NFL, NHL. There's just so much going on in November that the last thing we're thinking about is getting into the beginning of college basketball. It really pays to pay attention to when college basketball begins. Now, college basketball junk, they are all in. They are really into it because believe it or not, there are some people that really don't follow the NBA, really don't follow the NFL, NHL, or Major League Baseball for that matter. They have their particular sports. Now, and I have attended 4 Final Fours over the 20 or so years I've been covering sports. And when I get around these diehard college basketball fans, and they have told me, we don't pay attention to the NBA. And you would think that they do because, like, some of these players, when they move on and go to the NBA, and it stops there for these diehard college fans. They just wait for the next group of kids to come up. They are really diehard sticklers to their schools, and they love it. I mean, if you've never been to a Final Four event or a Final Four, it's just not the young. Yeah, it's the student body, of course. That makes it so much interesting. But there are just diehard fake college basketball faithfuls that really do love this, and they don't care about nothing else but college basketball. Same thing with football, college football fans that don't really care about the NFL. They just love college football. I mean, you see it. You see Michigan and Ohio State, 100-something thousand fans packing those stadiums. Same thing with college basketball. You see North Carolina, you see Duke, you see all of those fans. The Cameron crazes is what they call them, the student bodies. But no, it's people my age and older. They love college basketball. But anyway, those folks, they start in November. The normal folks, the rest of us, the rest of you, I should say, you will jump on board right at the end of February, knowing that we're winding down. Most teams have about 5 or 6 regular season games left in college basketball, and then the conference tournaments are going to start here pretty soon. And I have some dates for a couple of the conferences that I'm going to share with you, and then we'll get into when Selection Sunday is going to take place. We'll get into the first 4, those teams that the play-in tournaments, and then the official first round of the NCAA tournament. Got some locations and dates in case you want to see first round, second round, Elite 8, Sweet 16. If you are in these nearby cities that I'm going to talk about, just get out there and enjoy it because it's fun. It's March Madness. It's just crazy because remember a couple of years ago they canceled the tournament. Man, that was just weird going through March with no NCAA, right? That was just crazy, right? So, but anyway, college basketball is big. We're going to talk about the top 25. We're going to talk about some of the teams in the top 25, and I will give you what I think is going to be the teams that will have the number 1 seeds, the 4 teams that I think that will have the number 1 seed. There's a couple other teams, 3 that I'm almost certain to be number 1 seeds, but then it's a toss-up for some of these other ones. The Baylor Bears are the defending NCAA champs. If you recall, last year they defeated the current number 1 team in the country right now, and that is the Gonzaga Bulldogs last year in the NCAA championship game. And Baylor is currently ranked number 10. And they have a huge game this weekend at home versus number 5 Kansas Jayhawks. You got 5 West Coast schools in the top 25, and most of the country don't really get to see these teams play because it's so late when they They're on TV, but watch out. Don't be surprised in March when one of these teams are in the Elite Eight. How about we just go and look at the top 25, and then I'll tell you, I'll come back to these 5 schools that are from the West Coast that are in the top 25. Gonzaga is your number 1 team in the country right now with a record of 23-2. Arizona Wildcats are the number 2 team in the country. That's one of the West Coast schools that I was talking about. Auburn Tigers are your number 3. Auburn playing some really, really good basketball now. They were ranked number 2. They lost to Florida the other day, scored 6-3 to 6-2, but Auburn is really, really, really good. Bruce Pearl, if you know, this is the guy who takes his shirt off after a win anyway. So he didn't do it the other day because they lost. But Auburn, just think Auburn. Auburn. When you think of Auburn, you're thinking college football, right? Auburn, the number 3 team in the country in the men's Division I top 25 basketball poll. Purdue Boilermaker. Purdue, I remember years ago covering the Boilermakers press conference that they were playing in a tournament out in Anaheim, California, and I got a chance to interview Gene Keady, who used to be the coach of the Boilermakers. They are your number 4 team in the country. Number 5 is Kansas, the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas is always there. Bill Self always has a great team, always. One of my friends' grandson plays for the Kansas Jayhawks, so I'm always watching Kansas to see what they got going on. They are number 5. Kansas is always going to be in the top 10. I can't remember when Kansas not in the top 10, but they are right there at number 5. Kentucky, another great school. John Calipari always have Kentucky ranked. I don't know where he finds these players, but John Calipari, Kentucky is just a recruiting magnet. They always get the best players, even when they don't really get the best players. John Calipari just developed these guys, and they come there thinking they're going to win, and they have this winning mentality. He's done it with freshmen. He just anyone that comes to Kentucky know they're going to win, and they also know they're going to make some money because most of these kids are one and done. They leave Kentucky, they go to the NBA. There's a ton of players in the NBA that can attest to that you will make some money. Okay, Karl Anthony Towns is one, right? The guy that just won the 3-point contest in the NBA. He can tell you all about playing for Calipari in Kentucky. So Kentucky Wildcats are your number 6 team in the country. Duke, number 7. How about this? 5, 6, and 7. Kansas, Kentucky, and Duke. No strangers to the NCAA men's basketball, right? Any one of these teams can end up being the number 1 seed, so watch out, Gonzaga. And that's why these conference tournaments, oh my goodness, this is really what they call March Madness. The tournament, the big dance is one thing, but these conference tournaments, you want to see some exciting NCAA basketball. Watch the SEC conference tournament, watch the ACC conference tournament, watch the Big East conference tournament. And I got the dates for you so you can be ready to watch this. Many of you will be at work, but I know you can record these games so you can watch them because these games actually start early in the day. Texas Tech, I skipped one. Duke is number 7. Number 8 is Villanova. That's another one. You talking about great schools here. How about number 5 is Kansas, number 6 is Kentucky, number 7 is Duke, number 8 is Villanova, and Villanova has won some NCAA championships. Jay Wright is one hell of a coach. So this tournament is just setting up to be spectacular. Number 9, Texas Tech. How about that? Texas Tech is right up there. Texas Tech has been good in football, but now Texas Tech is a team to be reckoned with. And number 10 is the Baylor Bears, the defending champions. They're not number 1, and you don't really need to be number 1 to win it all. You just need to be in that tournament. You need to make the dance. You need to get a good seeding in this tournament, which I think Baylor will. And of course, their conference tournament is going to be pretty exciting too. Baylor, they are the defending champs until someone knocks them out. The number 11 team in the country is the Providence Friars. How about that? The Friars. Providence, man, back in the day, Providence, oh boy, they used to be the thing back in the day. And now Providence, it's nice to see them back in the top 25. Number 12, and this is your second West Coast team, UCLA Bruins. Now, really, do we have to really say anything about UCLA? UCLA, how many championships? Good Lord. Bill Walton, he can tell you, right? John Wooden, a lot of folks will just say UCLA in basketball, college basketball, they just go hand in hand, right? So it shouldn't surprise anyone that the UCLA Bruins are in the top 25. They are ranked number 12, and they are always there. You can count on them getting to the Sweet 16, okay? Not going to say that right now, but well, you know what? I will say that. I think they are a Sweet 16 team, unless something just crazy happens, but they will be there. The number 13 team in the country is the Wisconsin Badgers. Of course, they were part of that unfortunate incident on Sunday involving Juwan Howard and the Michigan Wolverines. They are number 13. They defeated Michigan 77-63, and they will be a force to be reckoned with as well. And they're in the Big Ten tournament is going to be interesting to see as well. Number 14 team is the Houston Cougars. And I tell you what, this team, man, they have really been there for the last couple of years. And it's going to be interesting to see how Kevin Sampson prepares this team to play. They beat Wichita State 76-74 the other day, so they really are going to have to keep turning it up there. They've had some big disappointments in some games that they should have won, but they are the 14th ranked team in the country, so they should get a pretty decent seed in the tournament. The number 15th ranked team in the country is the Fighting Illini. How about that? They have a record of 19-7, big win over Tom Izzo's team, Michigan State Spartans. They beat them 79-74. So the Fighting Illini, back in the day, they used to really turn it up too. So it's nice to see Illinois back there in the top 25. The number 16 team is the third West Coast team in the top 10. In the top 25. And that is the USC Trojans. Now, USC, they produced Evan Mobley. Now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hey, USC not so much known for basketball, really known for their football. But how about this? UCLA and USC both are from the Pac-12, and both are in the top 25. Quite interesting there. And one thing I'll say about these West Coast schools is that, because they play so late, the rest of the country don't really see them play. I happen to stay up late, so I see a lot of West Coast games, and believe me, they start late. I'm talking about 9, sometimes 10 o'clock. A Gonzaga game the other day started at 10 p.m. my time, and I'm in the Central Time Zone. And that's ridiculous. So I know the East Coast is like, forget it. But anyway, the USC Trojans ranked number 16. And how about this Tennessee? The Tennessee Volunteers, man, Rick Barnes. I remember when Rick Barnes was the head coach of the Texas Longhorns, Rick Barnes, and man, he right there in the SEC, and it's just interesting to see. It just used to be all Kentucky in the SEC, but that's not the case now. You got Kentucky, you got Arkansas, you got Auburn, you got, I think Alabama's in the top 25. So the SEC has just become not so much of a football powerhouse, but they are now a college basketball powerhouse. So how about that? So we just, we talked about Auburn is number 3, Kentucky is number 6, and here we go with Tennessee, number 17th ranked team in the country. And how about this? The 18th ranked team in the country is another SEC school, Arkansas, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Big win over the Florida Gators on the road. This Arkansas team, I tell you, Eric Musselman, what a great coach. Runs in his family, of course. But man, big win on the road. Arkansas is 22-6, and they have just been turning it up in the SEC. Now, the SEC tournament is going to be great as well. The SEC, the ACC, the Big East, the Pac-12, all of these conference tournaments are going to be great. And I can't wait to give you the dates on these so you can watch these tournaments and just know how exciting the big dance is going to be when it starts, okay? All right, the number 19th ranked team in the country is Murray State. Now, I will say that I haven't seen them play at all this year. Murray State, 26-2, and if I'm not mistaken, probably got the best record in all of college basketball, because Gonzaga's 23-2. So they haven't lost as well. Arizona's 24-2, but as far as wins and losses, it would be Murray State that has the best record. You'll be seeing come March when Murray State is in the Elite Eight. Who the hell is Murray State? Trying to tell you about them now. Okay, so you might want to watch them. You might want to watch the conference tournament and see what's going on with them. But Murray State is the 19th ranked team in the country, and might want to keep an eye on them. The number 20th ranked team in the country, Texas Longhorns. Texas Longhorns with a record of 19-8. They defeated, actually, they lost to Texas Tech. 61-55 in their last game. Number 21 is Uconn. Uconn, a team that certainly is no stranger to college basketball. Uconn defeated Villanova 71-69 the other day. Number 22 is Ohio State. They're right there in the top 25. And how about number 23? Okay, now this is your fifth West Coast team in the top 25. St. Mary's. St. Mary's, the Gales. The Gales are your 23rd ranked team in the country with a record of 22-6. And I know you're probably wondering, like, who is St. Mary's? And there's two St. Mary's, because I think there's one in Minnesota. Well, this is the one in on the West Coast. St. Mary's, and I know a lot of you don't know anything about St. Mary's College, right? They're in the West Coast Conference, but they had a player back in it's been some time ago. But anyway, you know who I'm talking about. He was the star player for them at the time. I'm talking about Patty Mills. Patty Mills was a star player. He was a leading scorer at one time for St. Mary's College there. Went on to play for the San Antonio Spurs, and now I believe he's playing for the Brooklyn Nets. But I wouldn't say he put him on the map, but he was a damn good player at the time for St. Mary's. So St. Mary's College, they are right there. Number 23. Number 24, another SEC school, Alabama. Alabama will make the tournament, no doubt, but they are in that SEC, and that's why that SEC tournament is going to be exciting. Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, Auburn, 5 schools there. 5 schools from one freaking conference, the SEC. It's amazing. The SEC basketball is just as exciting as SEC football. And if you have that SEC channel, it's worth watching. It's almost like just like watching football. The SEC has just really got it going on there. And I can't wait for the conference tournament. And the number 25th ranked team in the country right now is the Iowa Hawkeyes. They are number 25. So there are some other teams that receive some votes and will definitely be in the tournament. And Michigan State, and what really hurt them, of course, is losing to Illinois. But Tom Izzo's teams are always great, and especially, and they are dangerous when it comes to March Madness and getting in that tournament. So you don't want to count them out. And who wants to play Tom Izzo team in the tournament? And when they get to the tournament, their conference tournament, they're dangerous. But if they make the NCAA a dance, they're even more dangerous. So and believe me, they will make the dance. Okay, if you think Tom Izzo's team is not going to be part of March Madness, then you probably don't know anything about college basketball. So we covered the 5 West Coast schools that are in the top 25, and we also talked about the 5 schools that are in the SEC that are in the top 25 as well. I said we would talk about when the conference tournaments begin. That's very important because the regular season in college basketball is winding down. So let's start with the ACC. The ACC tournament begins, and most of them begins March 8th or 9th. ACC tournaments begin March 8th. The Big 12 tournament, and this is men's basketball tournament, begins March 9th. The Big East tournament begins March 9th. Conference USA begins March 8th. Mountain West tournament begins March 8th. The Big 10 tournament begins March 9th. Pac-12 March 9th. SEC March 9th. The Sun Belt. Now, the Sun Belt in the West Coast starts a little early, and they start on March 3rd, which is next week. The Sun Belt Conference consists of Texas State, Appalachian State, Troy, Georgia State, South Alabama, Arkansas State, Louisiana, UT Arlington, Coastal Carolina, UL Monroe, that's University of Louisiana, Monroe, Georgia Southern, and Little Rock. And the West Coast Conference consists of the number 1 team in the country, Gonzaga, number 23 ranked St. Mary's, San Francisco, Santa Clara, BYU, San Diego, Portland, Pacific, Loyola Marymount, and Pepperdine. So that conference will start their tournament on March 3rd. Don't know why that is. I don't know if that's an advantage or not, but the West Coast Conference, so you have those West Coast schools like Mount St. Mary's, going to start next week. These schools will probably finish way before these other tournaments. And that would give you a chance to get familiar with some of the West Coast schools by the Sun Belt is not on the West Coast, but the West Coast Conference, certainly you want to get a chance to start watching that as soon as possible. Selection Sunday. When is that going to take place? Well, all of these conference tournaments will have been decided. Some of them go all the way to Selection Sunday. As a matter of fact, normally the tournament, Selection Sunday is being decided where some of these tournaments are still playing. But mark this down, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on March 13th on CBS. That will be Selection Sunday. That's when the NCAA tournament selection committee will put in the 68 teams, okay, the 68 teams that will make the tournament. Now, the first four, that's that play-in tournament, so to speak, that's going to take place March 15th through the 16th, and then the official first round of the NCAA tournament is going to take place on March 17th and the 18th. All right, so that's going to be March 17th and the 18th. That's the first round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. You might want to know when the Final Four is going to take place. Well, the Final Four is going to take place the Saturday, April 2nd, and then the NCAA men's championship game is April 4th, and the Final Four and the championship game is going to take place at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. And I was there the last time they played the Final Four in New Orleans, and as a matter of fact, Anthony Davis, I'm trying to think, I don't think they've played one since then. They could have, but I don't remember. But I was there when Anthony Davis was with Kentucky and Final Four there in New Orleans. So I'm trying to think. So I've gone to four Final Fours. So I was in New Orleans. I did 2 Final Fours in Houston, and I did 1 in San Antonio. Final Fours are just great. I don't have to tell you college basketball junkies that, because you know. And it's just great. It's just a good, fun atmosphere. And I can remember hanging out and drinking with one thing I do know is that you cannot outdrink college students, and I learned that in San Antonio with the Villanova fans out there that weekend. I learned I could not hang. I would not try to do that again. But it was so much fun. And then I hung out with what was the school? The Chicago school with the Sister Jean and hanging out with, now I know Sister Jean, the nun, I believe, but man, those folks do drink though. At least the alumni folks did. They wasn't thinking about Sister Jean at those bars in San Antonio, so I couldn't outdrink them either. But it's just a fun atmosphere. And of course, New Orleans, you got the drinks and the food. And if you've ever been to the daiquiri bars in New Orleans, you got that in the food. So it's going to be a great NCAA Final Four weekend. Now, if you are in these locations, say if you can't make it to New Orleans that weekend, but you still want to see some first round actions, well, how about this? If you want to see that first four, the first four is going to be in Dayton, Ohio on the 15th and 16th. If you are anywhere in Dayton, Ohio, you can go see that. But some of the first rounds, the first and second round, are going to be held in Buffalo, New York at the KeyBank Center, Indianapolis, Indiana at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse, Fort Worth, Texas, Dickies Arena, Portland, Oregon at the Motor Center. You can see some first and second round action. Greenville, South Carolina. You can go and see some first round action at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. First and second round action will be at Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Fiserv Arena. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. First and second round action at the PPG Paints Arena. San Diego, California. You get first and second round action at the Viejas Arena. Now, the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, that's going to take place March 24th and March 26th. You can catch the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 action in San Antonio, Texas at the AT&T Center. You can also catch it those same dates, March 24th and March 26th, San Francisco, California at the Chase Center. You can catch the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 March 25th and 27th, Chicago, Illinois at the United Center. Sweet 16 Elite 8, March 25th and 27th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Wells Fargo Center, and then, of course, the Final Four, April 2nd, 4th, New Orleans, Caesars Superdome. That is it. And if you missed any of this information, you can always go to www.nc2a.com. So as you can see, there's still plenty of college basketball over the next few weeks. Hope you enjoy. If you can catch a little action now to kind of get yourself familiar with some of the players, and definitely make sure you get in on the conference tournaments, because it's going to be great. And then you get into your Selection Sunday here. Then March Madness is just going to be great. So now I'll probably do another show right when Selection Sunday is announced and the brackets. We'll do a bracket show. I think we always do a bracket show. So I will actually fill out my bracket right here on the Mean Gene Show. So make sure you listen in for that. That will definitely take place. Okay, so all right, that is going to do it. Hope you enjoyed it. And I think my next podcast, I think we're talking NBA. We got to get you ready for the second half of the NBA season. So stay tuned for that podcast. You have been listening to the Mean Gene Show right here on iHeartRadio, powered by Podbean.